Hello and welcome to Coast AM's official YouTube channel. I'm your host, George Norrie. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And you can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and of course, on coasttocoastam.com.
Broadcasting from the confines of an abandoned radio station in the secluded ghost town of High Strangeness, just outside of Area 51, it's time now for full disclosure of the topics they told us were off limits. Hello, everybody. I'm Connie Willis, and this is Coast to Coast AM, broadcasting from the 840 WHAS studios of iHeartMedia in Louisville, Kentucky, home of something called Funtown Mountain. This is in Cave City, Kentucky. It used to be known, and I remember it, as Guntown Mountain. In fact, it was really just Guntown. Anyway, it's an old abandoned theme park with a strange past and an even creepier present. However, apparently somebody just bought it, so I guess things are changing, right? Well, once again, Connie Willis here on Coast to Coast AM, and tonight, a crypto guy, a cloud guy, and a time traveler guy. I'm loving this. So time now to turn off the lights and join me for another interesting evening of conversation, much needed education, and a chance that we might get a little closer to the truth of what lurks amongst us and what is beyond. I'm Connie Willis, and this is Coast to Coast AM. You're listening to Coast AM. I'm Connie Willis. And if you said, Connie, where can I hear you anywhere else? Well, you can go to my YouTube channel. It's called Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. Blue Rock Talk with Connie Willis. And you can subscribe there. It's Earth's Most Interesting Conversations. That includes people, places, and things, whether it's creepy or not. It's always a good time. So I hope that you go there and subscribe and join me. It's a lot of fun. I've been doing something recently called Crypto Connie. There's different playlists on YouTube, right? So I've got Bigfoot Friday that happens, and I've got like me and Penny walking, my little doggy. We run around and walk on the trails and things like that. But there's one called Crypto Connie, and that's cryptocurrencies, where some people still think that's Bigfoot. It's like, no, that's the cryptocurrency world. And as you guys know, I've been getting into that, and it's been really a lot of fun. I mean, it's a learning curve. There's no question about it. Okay, there's a learning curve to it. But once you do, it's amazing. I mean, there's all sorts of neat things. We've had, Stan Larry Murr here, the godfather of BitShares, a couple times. He enjoyed Christmas with us. But also, I think I've told you guys about, Steam It, where you can make money just, you know how you're on Facebook and you do all this stuff with Pinterest and all these other social medias. Well, you can do it there, and you make cryptocurrency, so you can actually cash it out and make money with it. So there's no ads on it. You do it yourself. There's another one, D-Live. I just joined that one today and did a little live stream, and I got $28 for it. That's cool, right? I'm building. But anyway, it's a lot of fun, and DTube and these kinds of things, what they are they're on the blockchain. It's all about cryptocurrency, and it's a ways to generate the money. And it's just been a really good time. So this hour, we're going to talk to some crypto guys. But our first guy actually is not crypto. It's Sean H. Worthington. And, well, he is crypto because it's not regular money. However, it's not crypto in the fact that it's on the blockchain. Keep in mind that the cryptocurrencies are all on the blockchain, and it just happens to be trading currencies. You know, there's applications as well that are on the blockchain. But most people know Bitcoin, right? And a lot of you all know BitShares because of here. But it's, there's so many things you can do on the blockchain. However, this next guy, nothing to do with the blockchain. It's actually beyond the blockchain, as he likes to say. And he's developed what he calls the perfect currency. So let's bring him on, Sean H. Worthington. Welcome, Sean, to Coast. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I've got to have Sean before on Blue Rock Talk because I just found it fascinating what he had. Somebody mentioned him to me, and it's like, whoa, you're cut out for Coast, man. So here you are. You've got something very interesting because you have nothing to do with the blockchain. First of all, give us your background so people will know who you are.
Sure. I'm a candidate for a PhD in computer information systems, and I've got a patent pending on a counterfeit detection system that's called the RAIDA, the Redundant Array of Independent Detection Agents. That's like the blockchain, only, I think, better. and I'm the creator of a currency called CloudCoin, which is the first currency that's cloud-based. So it's not based on cryptography, but it's cloud-based. And I have a full-time job. I'm a tenured faculty member in the computer science department at Butte College, and that's in Northern California.
So you don't sleep whatsoever, right?
That's right.
So you're a father with kids and dogs and everything. So, okay, so CloudCoin, where people might think, oh, another crypto coin, but it's very, very different. As you said, it's in the cloud. So it's not just called cloud, but it's in the cloud. So explain what that is, because most people, they buy a wallet and they have to have this big long password and they better remember it or they will lose their money forever. You know, that kind of thing goes on, but it's very different with you.
Yeah, it's quite a bit different. You know, one difference just based on what you were talking about there is that our people do not need to have accounts. You don't need to sign up for anything. Instead, the CloudCoins themselves have all of these authenticity numbers. They're like passwords. And so we're able to trade without ever having to log in, and you don't have to worry about forgetting your password because you don't have one. You've never created one.
And yours is more like money. It's not like on the market going up, the price is going up and down, and you watch the exchange, right? Yours is, it's more like having an actual dollar. And more than that, which I find interesting, is, okay, a lot of people get into the cryptocurrency world because they believe that no one will see their transactions. However, on the blockchain, everybody sees absolutely everything you do. It's all transparent, correct?
That's right. And so with the blockchain, with Bitcoin and these digital currencies that use the blockchain, generally the way that they're able to stop counterfeiting and to make sure that nobody's trying to double spend is that they will track every single transaction that ever happens. And so they can watch money from its beginning, how it changes hand from person to person. And this blockchain just keeps growing and growing every time there's a transaction. And you can track the entire history of the money. But with CloudCoin, we have a counterfeit detection system. And we just want to know if the CloudCoin is authentic or whether it's counterfeit. And we don't have to track everything, because all these CloudCoins basically have authenticity numbers that they register with clouds all over the world, and we can tell if they're real based on those authenticity numbers.
And it's like, and that's where it's like real money. Like if I have a $10 bill in my pocket and I go spend it or give it to someone or whatever I do with it, no one knows what's going on, and I don't want everybody to know what I'm doing with my money. Okay. Hey, I gave $10 to, the little kid over there to get, some candy. Don't tell his mom, that kind of thing. That's kind of something that you had a goal in mind, right? You don't like everybody tracking everybody's money either, right?
That's right. We came up with a model, basically a checklist of all the things that we think make a perfect money, and privacy was a big part of that. And so whenever you have to create an account, whenever you have to have a login, whenever you have to have a password, there's going to be some kind of trail possibly. But with CloudCoin, we give all of that stuff to the coins themselves, and the coins actually hold the data, so we don't have a public ledger that holds all of the data that happens. And so the data is all of the CloudCoins are dispersed amongst people. They take up space just like money. All data takes up space. They're going to take up space on your cell phone or maybe a USB drive. But yeah, it's very different. So instead of having a centralized public ledger, all the money is actually in people's hands and nobody knows who has it.
Yeah, it's kind of it's interesting to see as well, because actually with your currency, you can see it where, like I can go and listen, I love the blockchain and everything that's on the blockchain. And I also love your concept as well. The neat part about yours, besides all the things you just said, is you can actually go to like your vault there where the money is in the CloudCoin, which to me it's more like a cloud bill, right? But they're little. You see the money. It's cool. You actually see the dollars, and I like that. But you're going to be able to play around with that with some really neat things in the future. I don't think you want to tell any of your things yet. I got you. I understand that, but I'm looking forward to how it all works in the future. Talk about RAIDA.
So the RAIDA is my invention, and it stands for the Redundant Array of Independent Detection Agents. It's a new technology. We have a patent pending on it, so that we're going to be the only technology that uses it. And that way we won't have thousands of different coins that are basically like Bitcoin. People just basically take the Bitcoin code and they copy and paste it and rename it and market it as something else and sell it. They won't be able to do that with CloudCoin, hopefully. But what the RAIDA does is it creates all of these clouds in different parts of the world. So we have 25 of them. They're in Canada and America and Colombia and Russia and Philippines and you name it. We've got them just spread out all over the place. They all are separate. They all have different data in them. They don't share data. They all are run by different people. They have different operating systems and different software. But they all do the same thing, and that is that if I give you a CloudCoin, we've got to check to see if those authenticity numbers are good, and then you want to change them so that only you know them. And so basically they're one-use passwords, and if I give you a CloudCoin, you're going to go in parallel to all 25 of these clouds. They're going to come back with pass or fails. If enough of them come up with pass, then you know it's a real CloudCoin. But if they all come back as fail, then you know it's a counterfeit, and then you don't give them the goods. So basically, whoever knows the money is the owner, where in the past it's whoever has had the money is the owner.
And you may make a mistake, so it's not like because you may download it and not know that you downloaded it, so you download it again or something like that. I mean, you can make your own error, but this will say, hey, it's counterfeit. It's not going, you're a bad guy, we're going to arrest you now because that's counterfeit. And it's mainly going to say, look, hey, you've already done this. It's not going to work, right?
That's right. I mean, it is possible to try to spend the money 2 times, and in that case you would be told that it's counterfeit. But you will not go to jail. That's true.
That's right. It's like, wait a minute, I didn't mean to do that. I just double downloaded it. I didn't mean to do that. So that's cool. That would kind of freak you out otherwise. But I guess obviously that's a big deal, right? All this counterfeiting and double spending. I never heard of that until you actually.
Well, the blockchain was actually, Bitcoin was the first currency to solve this problem because we've been doing digital money for a long time, and double spending has been this reoccurring problem for 20 years. Bitcoin was the first currency to get what we call physical integrity, and that means that nobody could just counterfeit it. Nobody could just come in and turn off the server and make the whole thing stop working. That happened with we had this digital currency in California called e-gold, and everybody took their gold and put it in a vault, and they issued certificates, digital certificates on it, and traded billions of dollars worth of trade with us. And then the California government just came in and shut it down. And with something like Bitcoin, that's impossible. So, and the same thing with CloudCoin. And so the double spend problem has been solved with these new currencies.
I love that the RAIDA that you have created is, it reminds me of NASA and the way they keep their secrets, where, if they're working on something, whatever that one thing is, let's say 20 people are working on it, but the 20 people they don't know about, they just have a piece of it, and they don't know what the other pieces are, and that's how they keep it top secret. And that's kind of what you're doing.
That's right. And so our RAIDA administrators can actually go into the database and look into it, but it wouldn't do them any good because they would just be able to find out 1/25th of the coin. And if they ever tried to collude with other ones, they'd be immediately dispatched. And this system keeps the RAIDA up and going, and it keeps it safe so that there is no chance of it going down.
Well, so how are we able to, I know we have links to where people can find CloudCoin, but are you able to spend it yet? Is anybody taking CloudCoin right now?
Yeah, we see lots of people spending it. We have about 5,000 transactions a day, and this is not going through exchanges. This is not being used by investors. These are people who are using it for commerce, and so you can get some CloudCoins, and you can download the software that allows you to pwn it, which is password own, and change the passwords, and you can get to trading immediately.
I like that. Congratulations to you, because I know, this is just something that you came up with from scratch. In fact, how did you think of this? It's so way off, you know what I mean? I mean, it is really totally way off it's totally off the blockchain. It's beyond.
Yeah, I was working on a dissertation. I was trying to do object recognition, and I was actually trying to get computers to recognize the difference between a $100 bill and a $1 bill. Then when I was sitting in the bathtub one time, I realized that monetary systems are, in fact, information systems, and that money acts as data. And so I'm getting a PhD in information systems, and I realized I could just take all of the rules that we have that we apply to databases and just apply it to a monetary system, and we could create a model of what is the perfect money, and we could start achieving that model. And so that's the big development here, and this is what I'm going to be talking about in the next few months. I'm going to be talking about what is perfect money and the idea of a perfect money, so that we can put it in the textbooks for economists, because they have no idea about information systems.
Sean, forgive me, I can't get past the fact that you said in your bathtub. You know how much email you're going to get on that one? You're going to get ribbed on that one big time on Twitter. That was hilarious. I'm sorry. Governments, this is another, probably one last question I can get out of you here. I've noticed that people in the crypto world, because even though you're in the cloud, you're still considered crypto, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've noticed in the crypto world, people just don't like the government at all.
That's right.
Am I wrong?
I don't. I can tell you that.
What is it that they run the money wrong? I mean, what really is it? Because I know you guys really do get together, have conferences, and it's like, hey.
Oh, yeah, and the Fed, Ron Paul, I've been a big follower of that for years. Basically, we understand, or some people understand, that the monetary system of the United States, as well as monetary systems all around the world, are being hacked. And what's happened is that the governments and the bankers have basically formed this unholy alliance where the bankers, they want to be able to print money out of thin air and loan it to people, and the government, they want to borrow money for all the programs and social spending and military wars and all that kind of stuff. And so the government, basically our government, has granted the bankers a monopoly over the use of money, or the printing of money, and then the government, the bankers then allow the government to borrow all they want. And so it's a unholy deal, and basically this allows bankers to hack the system. It also allows the government to hack the system, and it's just unfair. People that aren't working are getting money that shouldn't.
This is, we're talking about CloudCoin, which is beyond the blockchain, and Sean Worthington is who we're talking to here on Coast to Coast AM. Sean, anything else you want to say before you go?
Well, I would just say that we've got an educational kit that's just for your listeners, and it only costs $11, and they can get a copy of my book, Beyond Bitcoin, the Future Digital Currency, and they can also get 5 free CloudCoins. They just need, it's going to cost $11, but they just need to Google buy CloudCoins, and they'll find a link to it for coast-to-coast listeners.
Well, that's nice. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. And, you already said everywhere that people can get a hold of you. Interesting concept. I think it's really cool what you're doing. I hope it takes off. To me, it's amazing. It's like, wow, you've taken care of everything, and it stays really private. Where a lot of the crypto people want the privacy, they're not getting it on the blockchain. Not that the blockchain is bad; it's cool, but yours is totally private. So, Sean, best of luck to you, and thank you once again. I appreciate it. Okay, best of luck.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All righty. Wow. Sean Worthington of CloudCoin. The information, you can go to our website and you can find that. So interesting stuff. I love it. This stuff is just beyond what you can normally think, you know. It's just it's changing our world, and it's so fun to be a part of it. So those of you that aren't yet, you're on the fence. Let me tell you, it's pretty interesting once you walk into it. I know I was a little afraid of it. So coming up next, we're going to be talking to Jonathan Bahai, and he is talking about betting on the blockchain. Wow, betting? Really? More to come here on Coast to Coast AM. Welcome back to Coast AM. I'm Connie Willis, and we are discussing crypto this hour. It's one of my other names, Crypto Connie. Isn't that cool? Crypto Connie. It works. Someone gave you that name. That was very, very kind, because now it's there forever. It's been like tattooed to me. So one of the other people I found interesting that I wanted to bring on here and talk about is somebody that is doing something that a lot of people have tried to do in the past just on the internet. Okay, and it's basically betting. And I know a lot of people that were into the poker, and they were doing the, the Texas Hold'em, and just poker in general, video poker, whatever it was. They were trying to do it on the internet, and they were trying to do it in ways where you could bet anywhere, from wherever, around the world, you could bet on their sites. And I guess their sites had to be stationed from some island or something like that. I don't know, but there was a lot of trouble, even if you did it what was supposed to be the right way. Constantly in trouble and trouble and trouble. Then, boom, the blockchain comes around. And now we've got one brave guy here. And maybe there's other ones out there, too. I don't know. I know, I was given this guy's name, and I talked with him, and he sounded like a real coast-to-coast kind of person because, well, I'll let you know why. His name is Jonathan Baihai. And he's in close to Nova Scotia area, or in the Nova Scotia area. In fact, let's go ahead and bring on Jonathan, and we'll let him tell about betting on the blockchain and a couple more things. Welcome, Jonathan, to Coast to Coast. How are you?
Good. How are you, Connie?
I'm good. Nice to hear your voice again. Tell everybody your background.
My background. So,
who are you, Jonathan?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur of 20 years. 20 years plus, not to age myself, but I've been mainly in the internet business in various ways. Several years back, my hosting business moved to a 64,000 square foot nuclear bunker located here in Nova Scotia.
And that's why I said he's a real coast-to-coast kind of person, because he works at a bunker. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
I love it.
This is a real Cold War nuclear bunker that was built by the Canadian government back in the 60s. We're right next door to you guys who were threatening nuclear annihilation at the time.
Yikes.
So our prime minister at the time thought it would be a good idea to ensure that the government would be able to survive in the event that the Cuban Missile Crisis went the wrong way. So they commissioned a series of 6 bunkers across the country, plus a headquarters bunker, a 7th one, located in the Ottawa area. And so those were called Regional Operational Centers, ROCs. And so the bunker that I'm located in is actually the one for the entire Atlantic region. Since then, all the other bunkers have basically been destroyed. They've fallen to the wayside. This is the only one that has actually survived the years. And after I arrived here, I was able to, after a short period of time, be able to acquire it. So now, since then, I had a love of blockchain when about the same time that I had acquired the bunker, and because the bunker is it's connected with well water, it's got a huge amount of cooling resource. Plus, it's underground. I saw an advantage for being able to possibly get into Bitcoin mining at the time, but because of the economics of Bitcoin and how it works, I was a bit deterred because it takes a huge capital outlay, and the risks are that it may take as much as like anywhere from 6 months to a year until you'll actually see your money come back, and then maybe you're making money, and it was very volatile. But blockchain itself was really fascinating to me. Being in the hosting business, I had a real understanding of the hardware aspect of blockchain. So I started to get involved, and the community that I really gravitated to was BitShares. And so BitShares back then was just in its infancy. It was just getting started, and I started to approach it wanting to become what's called a delegate within the network. And so after getting known by the community, I was able to garner enough votes from everybody to support me as one of the delegates in the network. What that means is that I run a node which actually operated from the bunker. So one of the main selling features of being inside a Cold War nuclear bunker is that we are not susceptible to any kind of EMP interference. So maybe nobody's going to waste their money on dropping a nuke on us or anything like that.
Let's hope
not. It's entirely possible that a major solar flare event could take out electronics, could take out data centers, and of all the data centers in the world, we're completely protected against that. The amount of EMP shielding that's built into the bunker far surpasses anything a solar flare could put out, because it was actually designed for the EMP power of a nuclear bomb, which is far greater than what a solar flare event would do. But a solar flare event could be very, very damaging to networks, to power grids, and it could take out everything. Like, it could take out entire continents. So while we may be protected, it would be very likely that we may not be connected because of everybody else just being down.
Oh, that's true.
Still
That's
when
true.
it comes to blockchain, it's very important that there's copies of the ledger located all over the world. So we would be the last remaining remnants of those ledgers that exist all over the world. Anyways, that was my value proposition. Everybody liked it. Continuing forward over the years, became very experienced, continued on with BitShares to becoming witness. That was a new term that in the new BitShares 2.0 when it was launched, and then also went on to become a committee member, which is basically, I guess, almost like a board of members that are voted in from all over the world that help to maintain the fee structures that exist within the blockchain and can make changes as necessary to respond to market needs. So I am today a member of the committee in BitShares. Went on to become one of the witnesses in Steam, which is another blockchain that launched.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that also uses the same type of technology. And then after all my experience, I started to look at how this technology, because these blockchains are so fast compared to all the other blockchains in the industry, I started to see how the technology was now mature enough that its transactional capacity could start to approach big industries. And I started to think about the gaming sector. Because in the history of computing, the adoption of any major new technologies and whatnot has always happened in gaming. You know, it's always happened in it's always been like where the advancement of computing has been actually due to games most of the time throughout its history. And blockchain offers a huge opportunity to be able to solve major problems in that sector, because it all comes down to the ability to be able to transact value within the network. Because the internet, as it is right now, is just a whole bunch of copies, and there's not any real way to be able to send value from you to somebody else. You're only sending copies. And so with a blockchain, you're able to actually send value from yourself to somebody else. So like in Bitcoin, for example, it's a simple thing because it's currency. You know, when I send my Bitcoin to you, then you're actually going to receive that Bitcoin. There's no copy of it. That's the only one that's ever going to be, and it's secure with you. Nobody can touch it, right? So apply the principles of the applications that go into games. Like you mentioned, you know, things like being able to play poker or being able to play all these games that are basically held by, you know, cartels of operators all over the world that have complete control over how they run. They're often licensed in areas that don't really have any oversight over what's going on. And the truth is that, you know, it's set up so that the house will always win. So that doesn't really give a real fair playing field. And the great thing about blockchain is that you get transparency. You have something that everybody is on an equal playing field, and it gives the end user then an opportunity to actually, you know, have odds where they could actually win. They could actually win in ways without having this operator on the other side who's, you know, pressing buttons and pulling levers to basically increase their profitability. So I just see it as a way to be able to bring a lot more fairness, a lot more justice to the industry, and that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
I know, I love it. Wow, that was yeah. And what is your bio? No, I absolutely love it. You are after my own heart. I mean, not only game playing is like a blast, but the fact that you are saying, hey, the house isn't going to win on this one. This is transparency. Everybody's going to know what's going on. This is going to be completely fair. And that's when gaming is fun, you know, when it's completely fair and it's not rigged in some way, you know, for the house to win or whatever to happen. So I love that, you talking about that. Now you, and just for, you know, just the amount of time we have left, you pick how you want to say what you got going on. But I love the bookie thing that you've got going on. Well, let's go ahead and ask that, because the sports betting that you're talking about doing globally called Bookie, how are you going to get away with that when all these other people, and is it because it's blockchain versus internet, when these other people were getting arrested and thrown into prisons forever for doing these poker sites?
Yeah, so it's obviously getting into the space is rather tricky because of all the regulatory hurdles happening. You have, of course, governments which are very interested in being able to get a piece of the action, which is why you have a lot of states, if not countries, that issue particular laws which are designed so that they can run the games instead of anybody else,
right.
Because it's so oftentimes it's been put across as, well, we're out for the public good and all this sort of thing, but really
money.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's really about the money being able to flow to the government's coffers, which I don't really have a problem with. As long as everybody, as long as it's a system that's fair, right? So the great thing about blockchain and about what we're doing is that when we built Peer Plays, which is the blockchain we're talking about here, Peer Plays was designed to be a provably fair gaming platform, and when we looked at the real issues that are happening in the industry, the first thing I saw was, you know what? Of all the industries, there's this huge industry called sports betting, and it's according to some statistics, they're not even sure really how much is being wagered, but apparently it could be as much as $3 trillion a year is happening in sports betting alone, and
wow.
This actually dwarfs all the other kind of gambling or wagering type of industries that are happening that we know of. So this $3 trillion a year industry is, as you know, in the U.S., just completely banned. You have other countries which have taken various stances. In Canada, it's a completely gray area as far as how sports betting is being treated online anyway. And then you have and you just have this activity that's been going on for, it's been going on for forever, long before the internet. So I just saw this as okay, so if we can apply blockchain to this, there's a lot of things we're going to solve. First, this is going to completely disrupt the bookie industry because the ability for people to be acting as bookies, to take people's bets and be in that entire role, which is largely why the lawmakers have taken steps against this, is no longer going to be necessary. As a matter of fact, in the application, I think the tagline we have is "You be the bookie." Where
that's right.
Everybody who actually uses this application is becoming a bookie in themselves.
By the way, it's Jonathan, it's a good thing you got that bunker, because those bookies are going to be after you after this.
Well, here's the important point I'd like to make. So maybe a little bit to protect myself, but also to be clear about what it is we're doing really. We made a piece of software code, and in some circles, when you really look at what software code is, it's almost like a freedom of expression. It's a type of expression, and the ability to be able to publish code on the internet, the way it's happened for many decades now, is a form of speech, and it's been regarded that way in many places, and so. When you think about what it is we're doing, we're not actually operating anything. We're not, unfortunately, some people are looking at what we're doing and they immediately pigeonhole us as well, you're running that bookie application. But actually, the way the blockchain works is that everybody is able to contribute any type of code. And what happens is that these node operators located all over the world that are actually running the blockchain, similar to Bitcoin miners all over the world, are going to take that code and decide whether they're going to implement it as a protocol update or not. And when they do, without us being able to really do that ourselves, then it's going to be a series of operators all over the world that have actually implemented this network. We haven't built any. We haven't built that network. We have no control over that network. It's just like Bitcoin, where governments have not been able to actually regulate Bitcoin itself. The only thing they've really been able to regulate is when people convert Bitcoin into dollars, right?
That's right.
Our local currency.
That's right.
In the case of
And Jonathan, just real quick, you got about a minute left, so I just want you to finish your point for sure.
Okay, so the great thing about Bookie, Bookie as a sports betting app is that it's going to allow for people to be able to get into a betting exchange for sports betting around the world without borders. It's completely decentralized. What that means is that nobody is specifically operating this network. So it'll operate very much the way Bitcoin has operated over the years. And it essentially allows for everyone to be able to connect to it, and it allows for the peer-to-peer value transfer in that transaction without having some third party determining anything in that transaction. And that's the ultimate expression of freedom and the ability for people to transact in a safe way on a safe platform. And that's really what it's all about.
About freedom. I love that. So, hey, Jonathan, thank you. Thank you for getting everything in as quickly as you could. I appreciate it. Jonathan Bahai. And where can they find you real quick?
So you can check out peerplays.com if you want to learn more about the network. And there's also, specifically from there, you can find links to bookie.exchange to learn about Bookie. That's the application I was talking about. And myself, you can just search my name and you'll find everything about me.
All right. He's the only Jonathan Bahai out there. So thank you, Jonathan. Sports betting and not getting in trouble? Woo. Yeah, look into that some more. Sounds like fun. You're listening to Coast AM, and this is Connie Willis. We got a time traveler coming up next. Stay with us.
Thank you for listening to Coast AM on our official YouTube channel. I'm your host, George Norrie, and don't forget to visit the Coast Insider membership area on coasttocoastam.com, where you can access our past, upcoming, and classic shows.